With Marvel Rivals experiencing such massive success, it's been able to bring in a lot of new players to the hero shooter genre. And yeah, overall, this is great news. I mean, we're happy to see the success, but it also has some drawbacks. You see, hero shooters are very much team games that place a heavy importance on playing well with your team and coordinating with your team to make big plays happen. Meanwhile, a lot of players that are getting into Rivals have never experienced a game like this and are used to just running and gunning. While yes, there is a time and place for that in this game, it's far from the most important aspect of the game. Because of this, I've put together 3 simple tips for players who are new to the hero shooter genre. So make sure you give this a watch and share it with your friends before you start grinding Season 1 of Marvel Rifles. First things first, we have to open up with something very simple. If you are on a diving duelist or even a diving tank, don't dive the enemy team's healers when they are bunched up with their team or as the opener for a fight. You want to wait for the right timing. If you open up the fight by diving them when they can all shift their attention onto you right away, they're just gonna focus you and kill you. Instead, you should wait until the fight has already started. This decreases the likelihood of their teammates being able to help them and increases the likelihood of them not having their survivability cooldowns, especially in the lower ranks where players are more likely to spam them instead of saving them. So it's all about the timing. You want to make sure that you're looking for those opportunities. If you notice that the enemy's healers are also weak or just use their cooldowns, that's another great opportunity for you to go in and go for the dive. Again, it's all about timing. You don't want to just jump in there and dive onto their healers. You want to look for the opportunities. If you notice that the entire rest of the team is pushed up on your team, that's another great opportunity. You want to look for these opportunities, or you want to create these opportunities. You want to maybe pull aggro onto yourself and then just whoop, jump on over to their supports. So it's all about creating and taking advantage of opportunities. So be on the lookout for those. Playing domination, be mindful of the ult economy and how it relates to capture progress. Now, ult economy on its own does deserve a video, so we'll definitely be making that in the future. But for now, let's focus on how it relates to domination. So this can take several forms, but a prime example of this is if your team is about to get capture progress to 100%, so the enemy team takes the fight into overtime and uses all their ults. You could choose to fight that fight and use some ults in hopes of winning the round, but let's be honest, that's probably not the best thing to do. In some cases, what's going to work out better, especially if you're going into the fight at a disadvantage, which, let's face it, maybe they got an early pick if they're popping all their ults, is you can just fight on point, don't burn any ults, and then retake objective with your ults on the next fight when you have the advantage. Because they'll have no ults, meanwhile you and your team are going to be coming back with ults. So this game is all about winning team fights so that you can win the objective. And you win team fights by going into them with every advantage you can get. So if the enemy team is burning all their ults, and you know you just need one more fight to secure the round, no need to worry. Save your ults, come back. And this is especially true for round 3. If you end up going to a third round, you get capture progress to 100% or 99%, but the enemy team is able to take sight from you. Don't even worry, just don't burn any of your ultimates. You're gonna come back. On round 1 and 2, it's a little bit more kind of like up in the air because they can come back with their ultimates in the next round. But if you're on the third round, this is absolutely the case. You can just save your ults, go back and retake. Alright? So you're definitely going to want to be keeping an eye on that. And then another thing just for domination in itself, when you get the capture progress all the way up to 85%, that means that they're only going to have time for one more fight at maximum. Alright? So keep these things in mind. One more fight. So if you manage to capture up to 85% or they manage to capture 85%, that means that you have time for one proper regroup and one last fight before they get it to full capture. This last one's more so focused for you and your teammates to not get tilted, especially if you're partied with friends. You don't want to be that guy, and don't fixate on stats. If you or your teammates are getting tilted, it's not uncommon to see people complaining about Duelist not getting enough kills. While yes, it is true that Duelist is the role responsible for getting kills, that's really not the most important thing for Duelist to do. Now, keep in mind, I'm saying this as someone who primarily plays Vanguard and Strategist, so it's not like I'm a Duelist who's like coping really hard over here, okay? Ultimately, the job of Duelist is to control space, right? So Vanguards will take and hold space, but Duelists are the ones that control it. They're the ones that make it dangerous for the enemy team to peek out of cover. They're the ones that are spamming their projectiles. They're the ones that can get the headshots that secure the one-shot kills, things like that. So as long as your duelists are able to control space and your team is doing well when it comes to the objective, they're doing their job, even if the stats don't reflect it. Now, if your team is struggling with the objective, duelists aren't controlling space, and they have no kills, that's when you can start to blame them because they're failing to check any of the boxes they're supposed to check. So next time, before you rage at your duelist that's 4 and 6 while the rest of your team is rocking 8 kills or more, take a step back and see if they're providing value that isn't reflected through stats. Anyways guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video again. These are just a few tips that I think it's very important for people to keep in mind, especially if you're new to the hero shooter genre. I'll definitely be making some more in-depth videos for helping people out, but these are kind of like very crucial, very essential tips that are very easy to cover, and I figured it's important to put this video out there before the start of Season 1. So until next time, Young Reclaimer out.